You already streaming? I'm gonna have to. Awesome. We're gonna have to test your audio once we go live, unfortunately, but I think you should be okay because so far you've been pretty hiccup free. So yeah, we should be good. Okay. All right. Yeah. It's like the farting chair noise, right? Where you're trying to prove that you didn't fart, and then you sit back in the chair and it doesn't do it, and you're like, "Damn it!" Yeah, exactly. Okay. All right. So Eric should be back in about 10 minutes. So I'm just gonna take a quick break, and I'll be back as well. Okay, everyone's in. We're live with a countdown for 25 minutes. Should be good to go. Glory to you and your stylus. I played the first one way back. Jeez. Totally a rip-off of, hey, listen. I love Eric's IMDb picture. Oh, what's up? Travis, Eric, Travis? Travis is an amazing animator and storyteller. I worked with him on Harmon Quest. He's done tons of cartoons before. Super awesome dude. And he was my roommate once. Yay! Jesus, Eric, you're making it hard to choose things. You've got so much on your resume. 96 credits. It's better than my 2. Make sure I have that open. That's weird. I am bringing that up. What's the app called? Calm, the Calm app. Ooh. The shit starts to fly early this stream. I think, yeah, you either need sleep stories or Valium or a mix of both. That's funny. Call you what in the morning? Welcome to the cliche stream. Yeah, classic Monty Python. You know, they're doing all the tests on U.S. soil. Their people keep dying while they're trying to figure out how to tell the joke without killing yourself. Oh, that's so good. All right. 9 minutes and counting, gentlemen. I love how serious you look in your IMDb picture. He became a comedian. Yay! And there was much rejoicing. Like every comedian. That's how that's how method he is. Wah wah. You realize we're influencers, right? Baz. Baz. So good. Fuck, we probably went on off on that for like what, 4 hours, Mike. It's like every 5 minutes, finding anyway. Reel it in, boy. Reel it in. Fucking Mike, you gotta herd them like cats. I can't disagree. Your logic is flawless. Pence, enemy of the universe. Pence. Dun, 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 dun. Cover up your genitals. Cover up your genitals. That's that's a story I want to sleep to. Dude. Nine out of 10. 9 out of 10 people who live on the bayou suffer from swamp ass. I like your Eric Brav deep, throbbing voice of David Attenborough impression. Phenomenal. We are back to the starting of mankind, where we thrived in our own shit. I believe the vernacular these days is keeping it real. As the kids say. You turned into Tim Curry there. That's nice. Damn, you do a good impression. Gets a bit quiet when Mike's not around. Well, that's because we're the workhorses. Mike just jerks off on. It's good. 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Love hurts. I'm mainly here for the end stuff. Just skip ahead to 2 minutes 30 seconds. There's some stuff there. Always. It's sex, Lexia. All right, 19, 15 seconds. All right, settle it, folks, settle it. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1. All right, looks like we are live. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am Jeff Salmonen. I am here with Michael Murphy, Travis Fowler, and Natalie Harvey, our regular artists on Twitch Pixel Studios. We are again working on art and animation for our own ideas, creating our own shows. We want to showcase the artists just as much as the voice actors and the creators of shows, and so make sure you give them a follow around the internet and follow Twitch Pixel. We're also here with a special guest today, Eric Bra. Welcome, Eric. Yeah, doing well. It's great to have you here. For anyone who doesn't know who Eric is, you should, number one. And number two, he's a voice actor in the industry for many years. He's worked on properties such as World of Warcraft, Assassin's Creed, most notably League of Legends, and a ton of other stuff. I mean, I looked at his IMDb list and it was ridiculous. Be sure to check him out too around the web. But most notably, he's done a new project called Clarion Dawn, an audio drama, and that's ClarionDawn.com, right? Yeah, ClarionDawn.com. I suggest giving a listen. I listened to the first episode this morning. I absolutely loved it. And why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, Kinnick is on his way to Mars. This is the year 2104, and there is a consciousness connection to everyone on the planet. Obviously, it sounds kind of creepy, but it's I don't know, it's an interesting technology. And there is a cult out there that's trying to stop this technology. And they believe that they're on Mars, and they're called Clarion Dawn. And so Captain Kinnick Anderson is sent to investigate, infiltrate, and possibly break up this cult. So it's a sci-fi audio drama.
Nice.
It's 20 to 30-minute episodes, serialized to 8 chapters, and it is all out available now anywhere you find podcasts or at Clarion.
Yeah, and it's great. He wrote me in the beginning, and then at the very end, that nice cliffhanger. So I'm going to be forced to listen to the next episode now. But I'm stoked on it. It's been a lot of fun. Again, we're here with our artists from Twitch. We're still working on the stuff that they usually do. So Nat,
Yeah,
what are you
today
working on
I'm going to be punching up Officer Bentley. I've got his front here almost completely done. And then I'll be doing 3/4 today and moving on from there if I finish that.
Yeah, and that's for Unicorn Dick, our adult animated comedy they're working on. It's kind of like Adventure Time meets Dick Tracy meets Rick and Morty. And Travis.
Oh yeah, I'm taking a break from Briggs and doing some test animation for Dungeon Flippers, my fantasy real estate show I'm working on. Yeah, it's a musical.
Fantasy real estate
Got
musical.
everything. So yeah, doing some animating today.
Nice, that'll be awesome. And Mike is working on a
Excuse me! Oh my god, I feel so naked! Oh, pardon.
What is it? It's like it's a wolf in the dark.
Pardon. It's no. It's the Batcave at preferable light.
Oh yes.
So
it's just one.
So we're working on my musical here, my cyberpunk musical, and just making a less realistic looking cartoon version of my characters since we're swapping from real live action to animation. So that's what I'm doing.
Nice.
That's right, you were working on a live thing to make this, but then COVID hit and you decided to shift it
That is
into an
correct.
animated project, right? That's actually a great segue into what we're kind of going to discuss today here with Eric as our guest. This isn't usual for me. Usually I'll be working on something too, but I wanted to focus on having a great conversation talking about the industry with Eric. And I wanted to kind of make the focus of today's discussion around how you can take your ideas from just something you're thinking or talking about or conceptualizing and actually start working on it, putting it into practice, and the importance of that in this kind of current age. Due to things like COVID and the lockdown. So, yeah, that's kind of what the flow of the show. So we'll dive into it. You guys can watch the artists, ask questions. Our chat is on Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube all at once. So feel free to talk and ask us any questions.
Nice.
So my first thing here will be obviously, brah. You worked on League of Legends. And you've done quite a bit of work on League of Legends. How has that been for you? Yeah, how's that been for you?
It's funny because I don't know the perception of how that works, but in a lot of video games, it's like you're just paid a rate and come in for an hour and you do something and then you don't know if you'll ever see anything from it again.
Yeah.
It was basically Jax originally. That was I did the gig and I thought, yep, that's that. I don't know anything about this. And then a couple years later, a fellow voice actor reached out and was like, "Hey, that game's like huge now." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Not like I'm getting. So, that's awesome. And then I actually got an audition for Machinima.
Nice.
You became the face, right? You became the face, right? Yeah, man.
Cipher? Yeah.
And then later on with Vel'Koz, they were really beautiful and they had a lot of fun.
That's awesome. And then on the flip side, And then on the flip side, there's another prolific project that I wanted to talk about, and that's the fact that you do these stories for people to sleep to in a thing called the Calm app. And you had mentioned you had recently been dethroned on the Calm app, no less. Can you tell us a little about that?
As far as like popular characters, I don't know if I'm the most popular, but I guess I was told by the people that put the app that I was doing pretty good, so I was like, yay! And then he says, well, you know, some of your stories were kind of like top for a long time. Then Harry Styles. So they're bringing in all these celebrities. They have Matthew McConaughey and there's a whole bunch of celebrities on there. And so he said, yeah, you can sort of dethrone me. I don't think I was ever thrown, but yeah, it's cool, right on. Good company to be a part of.
Yeah, that's awesome. I thought it's just interesting because it's like you see all these video games in your list and you're like, yeah, I know that guy, I know that guy. And you're like, and you tell me, I do this Calm app where I'm a narrator and put people to sleep. I'm like, that's a little weird to think about that you're putting people to sleep every night, you know?
Is that never got into this business and put people to sleep, and it turns out it's okay.
Hey.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Obviously, it's not. You can't really compare it necessarily to an audiobook because an audiobook, you're actually trying to breathe life into it. This, you're intentionally trying to put people to sleep, so it's very slow and you know. So yeah.
Morgan Freeman-ish.
Oh yes.
Morgan Freeman-ish. Yeah, and so Clarion Dawn, you wrapped that up recently, right? Yeah? Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome. That's a full 8 episodes there. It's interesting because I've always loved podcasts in a serial sense, and it's actually hard to find these kind of shows that are basically an audio drama like the classic radio shows like Orson Welles and all that stuff, right? But I love these types of shows. There's another one I watched called the Hadron Gospel Hour. It's a comedy version, sound effects, everything, full production, great show. I fell in love with it, but then once I get through the 6 I've actually found that are like really good, I run out, and then you guys come along and you're like, hey, you should check this out. I'm like, yeah. So like, what was the how did you guys come to be doing this essentially?
So I have some friends who were a group called 3 Pound Magicians, and
That doesn't make any sense. What's up, G-Dubs05? Sorry, we got a chat in. G-Dubs05.
What's up?
What's up? Hey, welcome in.
Nice.
Nice. Oh, you guys go back, do you? Oh, you guys go back, do you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh.
Oh, nice. Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
Captain, my captain.
Oh, Captain Mike Captain.
Oh.
like they were just the name, but we didn't have a name for the characters really.
Yeah.
Like this captain guy.
Yeah. Funny enough, in real life, I wouldn't trust my captain.
That's a good decision. A much better backseat captain.
Oh, he said, Eric, apparently you're muted,
Oh, no.
says G
Oh, what? Uh-oh.
Yeah. Are you muted? Are you muted in the chat for live stream or light stream?
Oh.
We'll just have you
Yeah,
repeat
hold on,
everything
let me
you
check,
just
let me
said
check,
for
let me
the
check the
past
stream.
12 minutes.
I'm listening in on the Facebook. Yeah, it's true.
Well, I hear you, but you're really quiet in the background. I have you maxed up here.
That's super strange and such low.
That's odd that we can hear him on Discord.
Yeah.
Let me try. I'm gonna send him another invite. See if we can get him back in here, guys. Give us a second.
Sure thing.
So here, I'll send you another link in Discord, Eric. Just disconnect from Lightstream.
Thank you, GW, for alerting us to that, man.
Sorry about
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. This is the first time we've had a guest on, so
I
bound
just
to
imagine
happen.
him, Samir, being like, apparently I can't hear him. There might be something wrong with the stream.
Stream. The dream stream.
It'd be rhyming because he's a
Nice.
poet.
All right, Eric, just sent you a message in Discord. Give that link a try.
Oh, it says it's expired.
Okay, let me copy. Here, I'll generate a new link. Copy invite. Try that one.
This is the same thing as Discord is using my microphone, so it won't let me.
Oh.
You could,
Yeah.
Jeff, if you wanted to forward your desktop audio.
No, it'll pick up everything. I had to stop that.
Aw,
From
a sad
happening.
time.
Let's try this anyways.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you can hear me.
Let's throw him in. I'm gonna try this again. Okay, he's in back again. Let me see if I can hear him.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll keep talking to myself since no one can really hear me.
Oh, that's okay. You just did a whole thing on talking to yourself.
I know. I just did a whole thing, and apparently I was talking to myself the whole time. So you're right. Yeah. I'm really.
Nope, sounds like you're in the stream now. We got you. Nope.
Oh, I'm in the stream.
Hey, everything is good.
Oh,
man.
yay! All
Good
right.
job, guys. Yes.
We did things. Don't
Huzzah!
ask how we did it, but it's done.
And there was much rejoicing.
I doubt that I could rewind and go back and do all of that again.
Unfortunately-
Clarion Dawn. Clarion Dawn came about because we were writing a short film. We're a group called 3 Pound Magician, and we obviously the pandemic happened, and while chatting about the projects that we were thinking about doing, audio drama came up, and I've always been a fan of like radio and things like that, and obviously the spoken word, the voice to me means a lot. So always been into it. And when Corey suggested it, I was like, yeah, absolutely, I want to do something like that. So started putting together something and putting it in a timeline and kind of like piecing it together, sending little chunks to our audio designer who would put some effects and give you a sample of what it might be like. And we all agreed that we thought this would be really fun to keep going. So yeah, and then I started directing the episodes because we were finding our way for each one. And then after we got a few in, then the writer and I discussed more, and I understood more of where it was going. And then it was humming along, and it's I don't know, man. I'm pretty proud of the work. I think it's pretty good. I think the writing's great, which I had no part in, so that's a good sign.
And all the
I mean, I don't know. You can say what you want about the acting job or the direction, for that matter, that's me. But the writing is great, and I could definitely promote that.
I also would go to say that I also would go to say that the production quality is very high too. Like the soundscapes, the world building around it, using the audioscape that you guys.
Yeah,
have,
that's
it
Frank
really-
Sladisco. He's
Frank,
awesome.
man.
You know. Yeah. Eric G-Dub says, Eric Bra, you look so beautiful. G-Dubs. Oh, Strato, I didn't know you could draw. Or
I can draw. Yeah, I could draw me.
You know, GW's an artist too, so.
Oh,
didn't know you
sweet
could
man.
draw.
Let's link up. Let's link up later,
Oh,
man.
nice.
I got a grant project for school to make an animated musical, so I definitely need people to help on storyboarding.
Also, again, I don't know if I was live during that, but GW plays Samir in Clarion Dawn, and Mike plays Captain. And then we have a.
That's the one-sided
Yes, yes,
conversation about
yes.
Captain O'Mike.
It's okay.
that
You know what?
No one
I
heard.
think it's all right that they skipped that. It's not a big
Oh,
deal.
come on!
You have to kill your darlings sometimes.
But yeah, it's a really fun. Like the process was
So-
great, and working with everybody was really fun. And honestly, I think that goes to your point that you were trying to make earlier. Was you know, especially because I get people that ask me all the time about like being a voice actor, and you know, sometimes it really is just doing stuff. Even if you don't have an awesome writer like Corey Hill, you could still, you know, create something for fun and then record yourself doing it. Listen to yourself. Start making things. We started producing this because, yes, it's tough to get things made. So you need to make it. And I think for anybody that is in the arts, and I include myself as artist, even though I don't really draw as well as you guys do, I think it's all just different disciplines of the same community of art. And I think that that's what makes it happen is if you get friends together and all of you do stuff and you say, hey, you know, maybe we collab on something, and, you know, each person has a different discipline. They handle that part, and that helps you grow. It helps them grow, and the community is built. And then the stronger the community, the better you're going to be. So.
Nice.
Yeah, fully agree. I mean, that's the big, you know, thing about Twitch Pixel Studios too as a whole. Is we're really trying to build that community thing. We want the audience to come to us and help support the ideas that they're passionate about. You know, no more of this Fox putting Firefly on the wrong time slot and killing a show.
Right,
All the fans
right.
are in love with it. You know, like it's how do we make the fans more inclusive and with live streaming, especially, even just video game live streaming, you get to interact with them directly. You get a personal relationship with the people that you love.
Right, and it's, you know, I think when I was talking to you before about places like Legion M or whatever and all of that, you know, these are, it's the fans saying, yes, here's where I want my money to go. Yes, these are the people I want to work with. I want to hear from, you know. Obviously, that's why Patreon's a huge thing right now, is you can literally go, you know, communicate and work directly with the people that you want to support. And I think that's, I mean, music has gone that way. If you like an artist, you can go buy their tracks, and, you know, some of them will have, you know, extras because you're a you know, a fan, subscriber, or whatever, you know. So
Yeah, exactly. It makes a huge difference when that you have that kind of relationship with the fans, because it opens up two things, and this is why I always support fans to support artists individually too, is because what you're really essentially doing is helping that artist buy the time back from society in order to focus on making
That's a great
these
way to put
creative
it.
ideas that they've always had and explore them, and you know, and it really, I think it's almost a way for both sides kind of to heal from the damages we've learned from over the years of being raised in a weird society that thought these things were kind of what we held up was important, and now we're kind of stepping away from that, from the COVID and social networking, being able to know people passionately around the world,
Right.
being in the same country with each other, even, you know. So I mean, I think it goes a long way when you're able to have that kind of one-to-one relationship with your fans. And
Yeah,
I think it's
for sure.
really the future of things. And that kind of like, I think, like you said, Clarion Dawn came about that. You know, I know a lot of projects that came out of the pandemic already that are starting to get traction and get eyes on them now. And I think what you guys have done is kind of the testament to that. Like, yes, we may be down. Yes, things may be up in the air, and we don't know where things are going to land.
yeah,
Don't let that
yeah,
stop
yeah,
you.
for sure. I think that, you know, not wasting time, having time that you've done something creative with is better than time you spent, I don't know, doing nothing. I mean, I guess that was the dumbest statement
that on
probably
a
ever
t-shirt?
made.
Well, well, I mean, it's true because when you're born, the only currency you really have, money, gold, doesn't matter. The
Well, yeah.
only real currency you have.
And
is
I
time.
like,
And
I
how you
think
spend
I
that
saw
time.
you share it, Jeff, where it was a diagram instead of how much money per hour you're making, it's more how much time of your life are you giving to make this minimum wage to survive, and it makes you that's the better way to think.
Yeah.
Is like it'll make you think on what you need in order to just keep that, so you can focus on what you want, because I mean ultimately it's your life, and
Yeah.
you should be able to achieve, or at least attempt, or have the chance to achieve these things that you'd like to do with your life and your time. So
Yeah.
it's a better way of looking at it.
And it teaches you to
Absolutely.
value yourself
Yeah.
and your time more too. You know? We got a question. Oh,
Hey,
and Tegan
Tegan.
joined the channel. Exact reason why I follow you guys. Hey, Tegan. Natalie's actually doing a commission for him right now. Love helping to support my friends when I can. Yes. Well, I mean, I've known Tegan for a long time. We actually we're LARPers together. That's how nerdy I am. And he's been a devout supporter of us. Before I even had Unicorn Dick, I actually made a bunch of puns that I put on t-shirts that are visual puns of these characters, who have now actually become the characters of Unicorn Dick. And he was there from the get-go, you know? And you're right, it's that relationship. I can reach out to Tegan, he can come on the stream and chat.
It makes a huge difference. Just like one friend showing up, and just like it really matters, which is why, like, if you have a local music
Motivates
scene and
us.
stuff like that, it's the same mentality for online stuff too. Is like just having your friends show up like means
is.
the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, to all of us, you know? G-Dubs has a question, though. How did the name Clarion Dawn come to be? How many names
You know
did
what's
go
really
through to
funny
find the
is,
final name?
so the original title, I think, working title was like Recursion. and the other guys in the group were like, "What? No, sorry, that's not the name of this." And I started laughing because I was just like, "Fuck it, I like it." And then they were like, "No, that is not. We're not putting it out as already, not good." So the Clarion Dawn was Corey came up with this cult. And Corey and Adam originally, like, we were all talking about it when we were sort of pitching this idea, and I was the silly one that stood up and said, "I want to be a space detective." And after the laughter ended, we talked about, like if in space in the future, like what kind of things would be done in Mars and what's going to happen with that, and we had a concept that was sort of like maybe the next blue-collar jobs will be people that log in at home on these like devices where they control bots and things on another planet. And then, but they places that humans couldn't go, they would just control the bots to do the stuff. And it would be probably manual labor, like lift, carry, move crates, help set up a colony or something. And the idea was that perhaps there was this cult that thought, no, what's real now? Are you the bot on the planet, or are you on Earth, or, what's your reality? And then that started drifting us into what became Clarion Dawn and how the cult and then what they're fighting against. And so, it's this is really honestly, Corey went headlong into basically identity, perception, how the brain works, and then adding in things like space. Space travel takes a lot longer than TVs and shows would lead you to believe. There is a long time that you're just traveling from one location to another, and how would you communicate with people if you didn't have like this immediate communication? Like it takes 30 minutes for like if they're talking to Mars, running the drone, they often have to tell the little rover thing 10 moves in advance, because they're not going to be able to watch each move happen because it takes so long before it gets, the information gets there.
I mean, NASA suffers with
So,
that.
so exactly, that's what I'm saying. So what happened was is we decided that they create this tech that can sort of make a version of you in AI that I as Captain Kennick, whatever, can communicate with, but it's actually I'm talking to a 30-minute old version of that person. So that started opening up the idea of like, well, geez, if it was that kind of thing, and then you had these AI versions of you, what would happen then? And in the course of which, again, some people are a little head scratchy at the first episode because they're like,
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what's going on here yet. But so by the second and third, you really start understanding this is about, there's a lot going on here, and it's having versions of yourself, including I have versions of myself that are obviously we had a little fun with sort of voicing the character so that we could have a different personality because it's voiced by the same person. So, the smart version of me was Beta or whatever, and he's like, I'm happy to help you with the problem. But the gung-ho ass-kicking side of me was like, come on, let's go kick some ass. You know what I mean?
Sound bites, everyone.
But
Did you clip that?
yeah, right.
Did you-
But that's the whole concept is like the identity and version of yourself and how you're thinking and your process, the brain processes information, pattern recognition. All of these things help you identify what's happening in a situation.
Yeah. It's such a cool concept too, and you're right though. That first episode, you're a little push past that first episode. 'Cause it's totally worth it. It's amazing the setup you get there, and then you get this hook, and you're like,
Yeah, when we
okay,
first released
what
it,
the hell is
we
going
wanted to release like the first 3, and then we voted to just do the first 2. So when we first put it out, you could listen to the first 2 right off the bat, and then you would pretty much be up to speed. But yeah, when people start talking about ghosts and what that means, and it's called the LVX scan process, and it's it makes this identity, this AI version that I can communicate in real time, even though they went to bed an hour ago. So, or whatever happened for them. Yeah.
Goddamn lag.
Exactly.
Goddamn lag. That's right. That's awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, you guys are obviously coming together as a kind of a creative force, and you're kind of come up with new ideas, obviously after Clarion Dawn, but also trying to get Clarion Dawn.
Well, yeah, it's honestly, I can't say like we have a huge listenership at the moment. Like people don't really know about it yet. So that's why since we got it all out there, now we're like, all right, we'll just wait and see if people want to just sort of binge the whole thing and get into it. It is at the moment standalone because our next project is something that we're toying with right now, which is possibly going to be more of a serial comedy. So we'll see what happens with all of that. But yeah, well, we're in pitch mode right now, so we're putting our ideas together. So
That's right.
Carry on.
Yeah. So you've been, You've been in the industry for quite a while, doing a lot of voice acting. I myself has been in the industry working with lots of voice actors over the years, doing our trailers and our ideas for our shows and whatnot. And then the funny part I find about this is that there's a lot of kind of crossover in what we do. But now I also noticed, looking at your IMDb, we have a direct crossover. You did something out in New Zealand.
Oh yes, Louis Roscoe got a hold of me, and he asked if I'd be willing to do it, and he said it's only like a couple lines, and I was like, all right, sure. Unfortunately, I think I mispronounced everything, and he was extremely kind and did not call me on it. So one of these days I may have to fix all those old lines. But that is just somebody who said, "Look, man, I really appreciate what you do, and would you help me out by doing a character?" And I knew a couple of other actors that have done a few lines for him too. So I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm not the only one that kind of wants to jump in and do something, help him out here." So. Yeah.
So So it's funny because Mike actually just told me that he actually kind of introduced
Yes.
Lewis to you, and which is hilarious because I had no idea. And then I look at this, and me and Lewis go way back. In fact, he's part of the reason that we have an animation studio because he helped us with our first trailer called Lost Hope, and he plays a character
Cool.
called Fletcher in there. And then we're like, oh yeah, let's work with Eric Bra, blah blah blah. And we had this big conversation yesterday. It went great. We had a blast, and we invited you to come on the stream today. And then I go to IMDb, I'm like, wait a minute.
Did Boost get ahead of me?
Wait a minute.
He was he was a cool guy. I mean, like I said, you guys introduced, and I thought he was cool and said I'd be happy to do it, but I think I really did pronounce everything awfully. I'm trying to remember what it was now. It was really dumb though, and I was like, oh wow. When I saw the finished piece, I was like, ooh, I fucked all this up.
Of course, in the eyes of you're always
but he also I'm sure he probably would have had me fix it, but didn't want to, ask or something. I don't know. It was very funny.
Well, he's very Canadian in that. Well, he's very Canadian in that. The New Zealanders, the Kiwis, they're all very Canadian-ish in that. Like, okay, thanks. So appreciate what you did. We'll work around it. He actually says hello. I was talking to him this morning. He actually says hello. I was talking to him this morning on Facebook about it. I was going to see if he could come on
hello
today, but he says hello.
Hello.
I hope everything's all tickety-boo.
Yeah, right? They had their big election.
I think
that went down for them.
Jacinda's back.
Yeah, I think she got. Yeah, they were like, yes, more.
Nice.
Well, when you have a good leader, you should definitely re-elect them. I don't know what that's like. I live in the U.S.
Sure. And
So.
when you have a bad one, you should definitely get them out.
That's what I hear in social studies. I've
We have
yet
an
to been able
awful
to practice that.
Yeah. Anyway, we probably don't want to get into that territory.
Woo! Exit stage left, even.
Yeah. Oh my!
So as everyone who watches knows, and I'm sure actually G-Dubs, you might not know if you still watch. Oh,
Mom.
Hey,
It's my mom. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
yeah. There's a little bit of delay from one of us. A bit of an echo, we know. Where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so G-Dubs may not know this, but what we do is we basically make our own ideas and chip away at them until someone wants to produce them and throw the big bucks at making a pilot. And between Travis, Mike, Natalie, and myself, we have, I think, about 5 IPs we're all working on right now together. A lot of them are pretty much storyboarded or even animatic. I don't even know. And getting close to having their trailers done or even their pilot going to production. But again, it's all about live streaming with the artists to show you our process and to teach you how we do things, and then show the behind the scenes so that the artists are just as important as the voice actors and the directors and creators and all that. And with that, my question then comes, for aspiring creators, even voice actors, or just writers, what kind of advice can you give to them around this idea of self-producing now that we have this world where COVID.
Well, like I said, or maybe I wasn't heard. I can't remember when we actually got the mic working. Community is everything, and if you're an artist of any discipline within the arts, you probably know people that do other things within the arts as a different discipline. So maybe you know somebody who's more of a producer or a director, or maybe you know an artist, or a voice artist, or you know what I mean. Point is, you collaborate with your friends. I'm sure you have groups that you chat with people. You can work with. You can find forums. Yeah, you can find people to work with,
stuff like that.
And do it. I know that sounds really dumb, but it literally is like, I have people that ask me to, I want to voice act, and I'm like, that's great. Like, do you have characters that you work on? Do you practice? Do you record yourself constantly and just listen to yourself? Yeah, even getting to a demo reel, you need to start thinking about like what you can do. Right, what you offer and what your abilities are. And so you have to like put it out there and record yourself, listen to yourself. Yeah, maybe you have a
Make
friend
mistakes.
who's a better editor and sound designer, and so you record stuff and send it to them and let them play with it, and then you have something that comes back. And all of this could be added eventually to your demo anyway. So like you're just taking positive steps towards your growth anyway. So and that's what I suggest is every day you try to do something to push your career and desires forward. And if that takes you sitting down and recording a silly voice and then playing it for people and seeing if somehow that fits in somebody's other project, or you know what I mean, any part of that, it's all collaboration.
Square peg, round
Well,
hole.
but I mean,
Get in
seriously
there.
though, there's times that you're like, I mean, even with Mike when he was doing Captain, he originally read for GW's part, and we loved the voice so much, but he wasn't necessarily the right Samir, so we were like, well, what could we do? And Corey says, I mean, the next chapter came out, and I looked, and I was like, well, who's playing Captain? And when I read the writing for it, I heard Mike's voice saying it, so I was like, oh, okay, I guess we know who we're casting for this. So, like, it made it,
That's awesome.
exactly, there he is, the Captain. So Captain, that was just strictly because he did an interesting Samir audition that made us want to use him for something. So, you know what I mean?
I'm a huge proponent of the.
Yeah, I really think that that's what you can do. And like I said, if you just communicate with your community and find people that can, work with you. And like I said, our 3 Pound Magician thing started as literally like a Google chat. Like what are you guys thinking about doing? I don't know. What about the and next thing you know, it's, hey, by the way, I wrote like basically the full pilot episode, and you're like, oh, let's start reading it and talking about it, and then maybe I'll start recording some stuff for it.
Yeah, I mean, we're the same. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of the indie scenes. Let's create stuff now so that later down the road we have this stockpile of stuff that we can show. Look, we know what we're doing. Look, we practiced.
Right.
We made an effort. And I get a lot of people who ask me like, Jeff, you're a super motivated guy. I see you doing so much stuff. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that. And all I hear in my head is themselves hurting themselves. It's like literally, if you look at the idea that you want, it can seem really big and overwhelming. But if you make it into small chunks that you can chip at each day, it gets done. And at the end of each day, you look back, you're like, I did something. And then a year from then, you're like, look at what I did. And there's an audience now, because you got to start now.
Yep.
Because it's always a long play,
That's for sure.
Yep.
Any notes there, Mike, Travis, Natalie? Any notes there, Mike, Travis, Natalie?
I mean, no, it's nail on the head.
I mean, obviously, it's finding. So, the thing I notice here in the KU in the Lawrence area is there aren't enough kids that don't know where to look or how to look for collaborative people. They know to like show up. They don't know how to ask. They don't know what they need. That sort of thing. And so I like with Kieran, my good friend Kieran, who have moved in here. He's a great aspiring voice actor, and his questions were like, how do I even get started? Like, how do I make moves or anything like that? And Eric, when I gave him to you, you kind of gave him that direction, and I just feel like having avenues to ask the right people the questions you have instead of like looking it up, having someone who's an actual tangible person that you can be like any kind of mentor is huge when you're starting something new. I remember calling Kevin Wilmot up about I wanted to move from what I was doing YouTube-wise to doing more serious projects, and like, what do I need? And he was really like, I love Kevin to death because he's like just an honest to God good person, and straight to the point, and knew I was looking for exactly what I need, and he told me like, look man, you gotta look, brother. He's like, look brother man, you gotta get a money man, like that's do that, like find yourself a producer. And he's like, do you have a producer? No, then that's the thing you find.
Practical advice,
right, and it is,
Practical
but that
advice,
applies to not just finding a man with the money. What we're doing here is allowing people to see
Yeah.
that their money can go into the things that they want to see produced, which is, you see that in like, honestly,
Yeah.
it's like Twitch. Like, when you donate to a Twitch streamer, it's because you want to see them continue, right? Well, with this, like, imagine being able to do that with some animations that you'd love to see, some shows you'd love to see, some audio plays you'd love to hear. And that contribution goes straight into that production, rather than, it'll never get produced if we just keep saying, well, I hope Hollywood picks it up. Exactly.
Or I hope my Kickstarter succeeds.
Yeah.
You know, like
It's not all
yeah,
or nothing.
so chip
It's
at it
never
every day.
all or
You know, we
nothing.
gotta-
Yeah, it's funny. I wanted to
we
do
got some
film
comments.
for so long,
Sorry, go ahead.
but I'm an interesting looking person, so finding the right situations are always tough. But I had a friend who was like, hey, I'm kind of... He was in between jobs. He literally had jobs, but they didn't have anything for him to do. So he was like sitting at his desk every day with nothing. And he's like, okay, so he started writing a screenplay. And after like a week of working at this office, basically just writing his screenplay, then they started giving him things to do. And he went, all right. But now he had a screenplay. So then we started talking about it, and we didn't really know what we were doing. Obviously, we didn't really even have the equipment to do it, but we decided, let's make a feature film. But we did it on weekends over the course of like a year. And sure enough, we finished it and put it out. It's awful because we don't know what we're doing. But there's some mild humor. Like, there's a few moments that are pretty funny. And we learned a lot from it. And we had a great time. It was fun. But we have a thing. So, like, when somebody says, like, oh, what have you done? And you're like, well, I'm just trying to get my break. No, here's my thing. I did something. And
That's a big point, actually. Yeah, that's a big point, actually. I really, really have to say that's a huge point. Is that even if you've gone to university or not, even if you graduated high school or not, what people truly care about, can you execute on what you say you're going to do? It's as simple as that. And if you can prove that by showing the stuff you've already done, even if you did it by yourself for free and you don't even personally like it, doesn't matter, because you proved you can go from an idea
Right.
concept to a completed project.
Yep.
And that's what keeps
No, and like I said, when you actually have something,
So we got a couple
you go,
questions.
here's this thing. It's tangible. It's done. I worked on it. Yeah, it might be crappy at parts. It might be the worst thing you've seen in cinema, but at the same time, I did it. I followed through. I made this thing, and yeah, like to your point, that's like, God, that's resume builder, for crying out loud. Like, if you went into a job interview and they said, well, what do you have in this industry? And you're like, not a whole lot, but I did do this. It's not great, but I'm hoping to learn more from, working at places like here. You know what I mean? Those kinds of things.
Yeah.
If anything, it says you're a people person because you got someone to show up and be in the background of your film. Even if you had to bribe them for sandwiches or with sandwiches, but yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing me and Natalie did originally. It's actually how Mike kind of found us. Is he found us through our original live action show we made on web YouTube called Four Villains, which is about four inept villains
Nice.
trying to start their own league of villains in the world. And it was live action. I'm even in it as a ninja character. We had a bunch of our friends do it. We had about 30 people working over 4 years for free on weekends, and we made 2 full episodes and a little mini series. And now, even though it's not my best work, I'm still super proud of it, and it's what I show people, and they're like, "Holy crap,
Right.
this isn't great, but you did."
And you were
something."
consistent with it.
That's what matters.
You know?
And I was consistent with it. That's right. So we have a couple questions. First, Kim Murphy is saying, "Great advice. Goal setting, whiteboarding, write it down, try and keep trying every day." Yes, exactly. You're right. And then G Dubs asks, Eric, have you ever used physical tricks to play with your voice and get a certain sound? Like, do you hit your throat with your hand?
I think he's asking a loaded question there because I think he knows he's seen me do something before. Most of the time, I just do, I just sort of contort it like anybody does. You contort it to make it do what you want to do. Yes, there's been times I've done things like, but I mean that's just something. Well, I mean, I have actually voiced a few creatures in like games where you don't really get credited for it. I don't even know what game. to be honest with you, I don't even know what game it is.
Yeah.
But I worked with this guy, Alex Wilmer, and he was doing the sounds for this creature. And he said, maybe you could help me out with this. I wanted a lower timbre. He's like, but I don't really know. And then I just started doing creepy sounds. And he being a brilliant sound designer and editor and all that, he took it and made it sound like, good Lord, it's a demon from hell. Like, it's really amazing. But I was doing things like, that kind of stuff. And so every now and again I'll push on the throat or something like that, but it's not that often. Most of the time it's just trying to figure out how to contort your throat and voice cords, do what you want them to do. Yeah.
Classic Murloc. Like, that's a turkey. That's
No,
a turkey.
Murloc. Go Murloc. There we go. Okay, yeah.
There you go. That's rad.
I think a lot of people, when I was
Yeah, it's
doing
interesting.
YouTube, like full time, people would ask, or tell me, I want to do YouTube, and like this goes for everything, making anything. This just happened to be when it came, about YouTube. Is like,
YouTube.
is consistency is key. Like, keeping a schedule is one thing for an audience, but like if you can't keep consistent for yourself, like. To at least one day a week, I work on this and I make progress, because
100%.
eventually those days add up, and you'll be surprised at like how much you get done. But
Yeah.
if you
It's true
keep putting it on
scheduling.
the back burner, like you won't make that effort. But working with a team you go from being responsible to yourself to being responsible to other people. And for a lot of people, most people, I feel like they have a problem being responsible to themselves, but when other people are relying on them getting something done, that's when it works. So you hold each other responsible, and you'll be amazed at how many things you get done.
I fully agree. I fully agree. A big thing I always tell people when they ask, okay, how do I get started doing something? How do I commit to doing something? And I always say, and it seems stupid, just like Eric would say here, is that just get started. And what I mean by that is, don't think about all the problems you're going to encounter. Don't think about all the things that might happen. Don't think about the future of the project. Just think, what do I need to do today? And literally sit down and start doing it. As soon as you start typing your story or drawing your first lines, within 5 minutes, you've forgotten that it felt like it was an overwhelming labor you have to do. And you're in it. And at the end, you're satisfied because you didn't just think the whole time about what you want to do.
Yeah, it's
You actually had
scheduling,
something on
honestly.
paper.
And I, I've had great advice, and one of the great pieces of advice I got was, pull out your calendar and literally put 1 hour or a half hour even every single day for this thing that you want to do. And yeah, I imagine there's probably a couple times that hour went by and you didn't get a whole lot done. But the fact that you say, okay, I'm going to do this, and like you said, if it was something you were writing, you just write a line of dialogue and then see where it goes from there. Before you know it, you may find yourself 3 hours into your 1 hour scheduled thing, and you've got something really cool going on. And hopefully, right,
Or
but you
crap
can go
that
back,
and workshop.
the next day. You're going to get your 1 hour of it, and you're going to go back to working on that, or you're going to scrap it and start something new. But the point is, you're going to be working at it, and that's what's important, is doing it. Like, again, I always liken it to people that ask me about getting into voiceover. Literally every day I would, even if I was watching TV, I was mimicking what I was hearing and then putting together in my mind how that casting brief would look. And so when that came around again, we're looking for an announcer for this thing or whatever, and they have the same keywords, warm, conversational, so now I start creating more, almost a character that I use for that. You know what I mean? It's like presets, like even if you have presets on
And then
anything.
combos of them, huh?
Sure. I'm just saying, if you have presets for things like, you push one button and all these things happen, it's the same thing,
Yeah.
What's your go-to villain voice
What it
then?
comes down to.
Me would be
Yeah.
God, probably something like a Hannibal Lecter kind of thing. Oh, really? Do you think you're so strong you can overpower me?
Like the British.
There you go.
I sincerely doubt it. But yeah, I mean,
Now-
it's that would be my go.
question.
Then they'd say, "Oh, we want him bigger," so then he'd go from this to this. What's your problem, Tiny?
So what if do you ever mess with or have you played I mean you did Kha'Zix, so something without cheeks, something more lizard-like with like high articulation and big jaws and having to mess with that.
Well, yeah, like I do
Deckard Cain?
what the hell are they? The bad guys in Worf was one of them in Star Trek. Klingons. So when you do a Klingon, you basically drop your bottom teeth down so that they're like this. Now you're talking like this. Now I have more teeth in my mouth, and here I am telling you that the filthy Federation wants to come into our airspace. Like that kind of.
Welcome to the Sauron Show.
Yeah, but what's funny is, there are things that you do like that instead of necessarily hitting yourself. You can change your face, or like I literally used to do that. You know what? That makes me mad. Yeah, because you realize that there's no other way to get that without moving the cheeks out of the way.
That's amazing.
Yeah. G-Dubs asks, Eric, how many voices did you go through to find Kennick?
God dang it.
I'm sorry. I that one was that there was no trial and error for that. It was oh god, here I am on this ship on my way to Mars. It was just me, pretty much. I mean, there's a little bit of
Wake up
that.
in the morning.
I don't
here am.
necessarily
No
believe
coffee
what
in
you're
my
telling
hand.
me right now, but yeah. There's a little bit of that, but yeah, it's pretty much me. Although obviously, when I'm just being myself, I'm a little more animated and loud. But yeah, there wasn't a lot.
Sounds like Kennick's more of a
Yes,
skeptic
yes,
than you, too.
he absolutely just really. Huh, I doubt it. Yeah,
He has reason to.
no spoilers.
As I'm sure I'll find out.
It's
No
funny
spoilers.
too because part of this started. Sorry, when you talk about Kennick and stuff, that part of this came from. I used to have a character on my demo who was this noir detective. It was a little short that I had in my demo reels, and he was Johnny Dammit. I know every corner of this foggy metropolis. And he was like the PI in like a noir, 40s noir or something. And that's actually what built like Draven as well. Like once I get down to here and I go, you're full of crap. I don't believe a word. That's where like, then they said they wanted pro wrestler. So then you add a bunch of juice to him and oh yeah. But if I'm just being the detective, a lot of it is down like, really? I doubt I believe that. We'll check up on your story. That kind of thing. There's a little bit of Adam Harrington in there, probably.
Yeah.
Hey.
So
Hey now.
you're gonna have to probably give me
Hey
some
now.
tips then, because in Unicorn Dick, I'm gonna be playing Mosey Flynn, and I'm getting that kind of idea. He's a hard-boiled detective donkey unicorn thing, right? So I'm doing the whole down the bottom, holy fart sparkles.
Exactly.
What should we do here? What kind of suggestions can you give to give a character more reality? Like, even though they sound ridiculous, how do you keep them sounding real?
I mean, part of that is you becoming that character. No matter how silly they sound, if you're them, then they sound real, Like, I have a character I've been messing with for a long time now, and I never know if it's just right, but it's so silly that it has to be for the right thing.
But, like when you talk like this and kind of like that's your thing, but, I mean, to be real, I want to do more, but, it's a acquired sort of thing, I guess.
I'm putting that character.
I
in
just,
this
I think
somewhere.
like,
Somehow.
but because I feel like I'm, what's that?
He could be Mr. Bubble Pops.
Hell yeah.
Oh my god, okay. Oh my god, okay. Eric, sorry to cut you off.
Oh my
I've got to show you
God.
Mr. Bubble
Oh
Pops.
my god, is this happening? Is this
Because I
happening
think
right
you would
now?
be perfect.
Okay.
I think it's happening. So keep talking. I'll
Well,
pick up the
anyway, I
file,
just think
show
that,
you.
like, you know, even Draven, like, he's a big over the top voice, but he feels real because that's just what he does, baby. Yeah, you just have to be able to be him, and you have to be sad. You have to, you know.
What's a sad Draven sound
Come
like?
on, don't say that. You know, but when he's happy, he's really happy. And if he's just being, you know, if he's trying to be the jerk and he's trying to be mean, he's right down here, pal. You know, which it gets you into almost a Wolverine territory. But
Pal.
listen up, bub.
Really does.
I always wanted to do. I was always like, yeah, one of these days I'll voice Wolverine and I'll do this voice for it. Obviously, that didn't come around when you have people like the amazing Steve Bloom. So anyway, yeah, you gotta make this character live and
so-
breathe, and that's what helps them sound more real.
So can you see my
I can a little bit, yes.
Yeah, so this is Mr. Bubble Pops. Basically, he's the way the world works in Unicorn Dick is that there's a lot of oppression in the city, and all the rich people are the candies because the lifeblood of their economy is sugar. And so there's all these elite candy characters, including here Mr. Bubble Pops, who's like this schwarmy little bubblegum machine with his little candy cane bodyguard who's got a shiv and his own cane. Let me find a good
Sounds
full
great when you say
picture
it
of
out
him.
loud.
Right? It's ridiculous. So as you can see, he's got like the mustache. Really schwarmy looking dude.
Smarmy.
Smarmy.
So
not
I
a
think
shawarma.
if you were to do that voice
Shawarma.
that you were doing there, yeah, right? If you were to do the voice of him, I think that voice you were doing would be very good for him because essentially he gets murdered right in the first episode.
Okay, great. I won't be doing it long, apparently.
As soon as you said it, yeah.
Oh, don't try
Oh, we'll
don't
find a
try
way to
to
bring
mess
it
with
back.
Remember what
At
me.
least I
Mr.
have
Bubble
to
Pop
now.
said?
I got these candy cans that'll shank you, bitch. Don't even try to mess with me.
Yes. I love
Oh God,
I'll give you cane like you haven't had it.
he
you know?
wins, man. Being
Wow. Oh my god.
Terribly inappropriate.
it. That's the point of it. It's cute, and it's
Oh
not
my
like that
God.
cute
That's-
thing should
that's
ever
the
say
show.
things
You
like.
get the show already.
It is true that that's what some of the best cartoons are always like these characters that you're like watching them say it. You know, that's what makes it funny.
Yeah.
You don't want to get shanked, you know.
Oh man.
Snitches get stitches, you know.
Oh, geez. That's pretty perfect.
Oh, that's. I'm gonna have to send you the script, and we'll do a read through on Discord at some point and see how you like him because he's
On
got
a
some
side
good
note,
lines.
Travis,
in there,
I am
too.
loving that. I am loving that so much.
Yeah.
yes,
that
thank you.
shot. Oh, that's awesome.
She's so
getting you
focused.
her-
She's so
She's very focused. She's got her tongue sticking out. Yeah, it's like very intent. Trying to see what this dungeon needs.
You should tell Eric a little about that show too. This is great. I love
it's
this
called
concept.
Dungeon
Eric.
Flippers, and it's a real estate show in a high fantasy world. And so, like all the real estate agents are monsters trying to renovate dungeons. Like, this client, he wants a lava pit. Gotta get a lava pit. This place won't work. Nope. Gotta and so it's HGTV, but with
Right.
monsters and fantasy.
We're gonna have to add some spikes to the back wall.
and they're all monsters.
yeah.
So like when the heroes come in, they're like, "Did someone order takeout?"
Yeah.
Or like showing off properties, and the guy's like, "I told you, I only want to see properties with
Yeah.
a moat."
And it's like, we already have a break-in. The defenses must not be very good.
How do I know this spike trap works? And a fucking paladin just falls on it and dies. Very well.
We have
Good.
this-
Just solved.
Open dungeon. Watch all these heroes die at your new
Open
fortress.
dungeon.
Oh my god.
Just show up all the new
It's not like you don't put on a plate of cookies or anything for anybody. You just bring
And
like
you're-
heroes
And for
throw
this,
them into it.
each dungeon you get a D&D, a do and don't.
Oh, that's so good.
Mike breaks the internet.
Do and don't. I think that was just a don't.
Natural one, buddy.
Rocks fall, I die.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Well, we've hit the 1 o'clock mark, so it's time for my natural midstream talk about who we are and what we do. So for those of you just tuning in, I'm Jeff Salmonen. I'm here with Natalie Harvey, Travis Fowler, Michael Murphy. I almost did that backwards. Travis Murphy and Michael Fowler. Yep. And we're all here. Yeah, right. And we're all here working on our own cartoon ideas that we want to make. We're making our storyboards, animatics. We're doing the whole process live with you guys, so you can come and join in and ask questions and see how it goes. Make sure you follow our artists around directly. Even if you don't follow Twitch Pixel as a studio, try and follow our artists because it's all about supporting them and bringing their art to the world, bringing their shows and ideas to the world. And again, we're here with Eric Bra, known for tons of video games, from World of Warcraft to League of Legends to pretty much, you go look at his IMDb, it's ridiculous. And we're talking about creativity and how you can essentially create your own stuff from home with your friends during a time like the pandemic, and how we have to shift how we make content and what kind of content we make. That's my spiel again. Back to being a bunch of asshats.
It's like you thought we took a break from that.
Never take a break.
Yeah.
from that.
That's how we always
That's right.
roll.
That's right. I know I always sound like an asshole. Ass and hats. I have like a fedora on my ass.
Wow,
I'm
classy ass hats.
Oh,
Class.
very nice.
That's right.
Class.
I put a
He's a
feather in it
class
once, and they
hat.
got really uncomfortable.
On the next time on See What I Did There.
The question is, do you? Do you see what I did there?
Yeah.
Every episode, we try to find if you see what we did
So
there.
since I know it-
See you next time on Do You See What? This title's way too long. Let's just end here.
Oh man.
So, back to the front of voice acting. I've worked with some other voice actors before. Quite clearly, I worked with Louis Roscoe. He helped me out on Lost Hope back in the day, and he's a great little voice actor, even though his focus is actually making animation himself. But through Louis, I ended up working with some people out in New Zealand, including the prolific Michael Hurst, which most people would know from Hercules and Xena as Hercules' best friend Aeolus. And he's been an awesome guy to work with, and he has a prolific, like, Shakespearean voice and just an amazing dude to work with. And of course, as some of you may know, with Unity 1, the development series in development through Twitch Quiz right now, we're working with the awesome David Hayter, known as Solid Snake from the Metal Gear games, wrote the X-Men movies and Watchmen. And working with these guys, I've had the chance to voice direct them. But when you work with guys like that, they know what they're doing. So voice direction is pretty easy. But I also know that working with some of the amateur voice actors out there, that when you become a voice director, there's a lot of hesitance to be told what to do as a voice actor, because you kind of think like, well, this is my bread and butter, I do this. How has your experiences been working with voice actors, and how can you help others get past that?
Wow. Jeez. What was the question again?
So, I know a lot of people who are getting into voice acting, they kind of see it as like, I show up, I do voices, it's great, but really you're being directed by a director. And I've had a lot of amateur voice actors I work with try to be like, well, I know what I'm doing, opposed to like taking the feedback. How do you push past that?
Well, I mean,
and become
a
more
lot of
collaborative, I guess, with a
directors,
voice director, you know?
a lot of good directors will obviously try to get you comfortable right off the bat, so that you feel comfortable doing what you want to do for this character. And so that's important, obviously, is putting the actor at ease and getting them comfortable with what's happening, and helping them see it. So like if you're talking about like line reads and stuff like that, that depends on the actor. I personally have no problem with it. If someone has something they want it delivered a certain way, just tell me what you want so I can give you that, because I don't want to waste our time.
That's more that perspective I'm looking from, is like a lot of, as me as a voice director, the hard times I've had is when it's like we get to have fun after you get the lines I absolutely need.
Well, I mean, you can still have
And then we
fun
can
while
have
you're
fun playing
doing
with
it.
them and
It's
see if we
the
can
point
make
is
it better, you know?
get to what you want right away, and then be able to do variation on that. And that's iterate from there, because that's what's gonna give you like a lot of personality to things. Is exploring the characters and figuring out what they do and don't do. That kind of thing is gonna help you, a lot. Sometimes you go in with this, I'm going to do it the way I understand you're supposed to be doing it. And, you know, a director may say, I hold on, you know, let me get you there. Let's step through this before we get that far into the wild and wacky or whatever, the fun. But there's still fun to be had the entire time. And at least in my opinion, I will often do a line and then, unless they've specifically asked for several versions of it or something like that, I'll do one or two reads of it, and then maybe we let that digest for a minute, and then we go, oh, what about this? You know, the ideas will come from it.
Yeah, the play. And I think a big part of that too comes down to trying not to show up to a voice gig with the preconceptions of how you think the character sounds, as like, that's what I'm going to do. Go in there thinking, okay, here's what I'm going to present to the director as how I see it, and then find your character.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times you've already auditioned for it, so when you're in there, it's like, okay, you're here to do this thing that we hired you for, but there's a lot of growth and a lot of experiencing what that character does and how they are right there in the session. And context is huge. You know, like people will come in, like I'll read a line one way and then realize when they go, oh, by the way, he's actually mad about that. You're like, oh God, yeah, okay, hold on, let me do that again, because obviously he feels way different about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that changes everything, right? We got Spaceman 999.
Hello, Spaceman.
Spaceman. He asks, do they still have Doritos in the future? Does Kenneth eat Doritos on the way to Mars?
Spaceman, are you getting checks from Doritos? I cannot speak for whether or not there are Doritos in 2100. I don't believe Kenneth eats any snacks like that. As a matter of fact, there's a whole bit in there about the thin stuff, which is I think more of a protein kind of shake, really. And they make it taste like other things, which is kind of funny. But at one moment on the ship, they actually make him, I believe the captain actually, Murphy's character makes roast cauliflower and rice pilaf.
Made by yours, truly.
Yeah, exactly.
How very specific. I told your writer was hungry for at the time.
So I don't
Just
know
like
if
your
there's...
mother used to make, no?
I don't know if the Doritos factory is still alive at that time. The world is a very different place in our realm for Clarion Dawn. It's a world that's being ravaged by by climate change. So.
What?
Must be like.
Yeah, right. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess it is reality.
So,
So nonfiction. So I guess I guess some questions like
This is a documentary.
because I know a lot of my friends are KU students right now at theater, and a lot of them are interested in voice acting, especially right now when most productions have been shut down. So some things, Eric, that like you've picked up. What are some good practices and tools to get into if you want to get to a specific character again? How do you roll back into that and be accurate to it?
Well, that's the thing is, I know you're probably referencing a little bit like your work as captain. There are certain lines and things that you use as like reset. And that happens with impersonations. That happens with, like almost anything in the voice arts. You have a thing that sort of like puts you back there. And when I'm working on characters, sometimes there's like maybe it's the first, if it's an impersonation, let's say. We were doing it earlier in the pre-show. We were all doing our different walk-ins and all that stuff. So sometimes if I'm going, I'm going to do a walk-in, the first thing I'll do is, guys, listen, because that's like where I started learning that, and that's my little reset. I know, Mike, when you were doing Captain, there'd be times that you would stop and go, hold on, ho, I'm a poet. Like he would like back off for a second and then go, oh, yes, I got it now. And then boom, it's like he was ready to jump in the foot. And that happens to all of us. I mean, we all have things. Draven, like, anytime I want to remind myself how to be Draven, I go, yeah!
You literally remind yourself.
I literally remind myself. Like, I just go, oh, yeah, that's right, that guy. Yeah.
I mean, fuck yeah.
And that's the beauty of that character, though, is that he is such a freaking pompous ass that I get to act like, because I don't want to act like that in my life, you know what I mean, like normally, but I think, but that character absolutely does that. Like that's what he would do, He's like, that's right, you're looking at perfection.
That's a great thing about performance. And that's a great thing about performance too, is that you get to put yourself in the other shoes. Like as far as a reference to acting as this is, LARPing has taught me a lot about that. Is when I show up on that field with those 300 players, I'm a different person. I am the king of the pirates. I am, it's method. You're in it because you have no choice. You're about to be.
Yeah, and that's the thing is imbuing or whatever, becoming the character is key, because that helps you make decisions for the character. They're not decisions I would make. I wouldn't act like that, but that's why it's so fun, is I get to do things I wouldn't normally do. That's why, like, when you talk to a lot of actors that excel at playing a villain, they really enjoy it. The guy, I have the picture right here next to me, the guy that played Johnny on Karate Kid, Billy Zabka or whatever, really freaking nice guy. Like, I met him at a con, and we were both, I was like, minor celebrity signing, whatever, but, obviously he had a line, and, but we got to have time where it was like, all the guests get to have like dinner or drinks or something. So we got a chance to talk to him, and he's a super, super nice guy. Just really good at playing that part that everyone hated him. You know what I mean? Like, ever since Karate Kid, I think that guy's had a tougher time getting a gig, because they're like, yeah, but you're Sweep the Leg Johnny.
Or like freaking, it's like the Joffrey from Game of Thrones. That kid's.
Oh yeah, well, luckily he's gonna get older and not look like Joffrey the whole time.
Well, you say that.
Right.
I'm just saying, a different haircut, and maybe, and age. I think he'll actually have a career. But right now, nobody wants to talk to that guy. It's
poor kid.
Honestly, I did a live performance one time where I was playing an abusive husband or boyfriend, and it was the most uncomfortable thing, because, like, when the show ended, and I'm like heading to the backstage kind of thing, and the girl that I was playing with opposite, there were people literally like, "Oh, sweetie," like they felt bad for us if she was like I was literally beating her, and I'm like, and no one wanted to talk to me, and And I'm like, I just kind of laughed. I just knew I knew what to do. I knew just leave, just go, just
You did your job well.
right.
Yeah.
Means you did your job
True.
well.
Have
So-
you ever have to
know?
after a performance kind of like reminded everybody in the cast you aren't these people? Because I've seen that happen. I've seen casts do that before. Has it ever gotten to the level where you're like, I'm not this person and I forgive myself?
He would throw like a puppy at you at all times and be like, look, a puppy. I'm a
I
nice
mean,
person.
it's funny too because like
distraction.
again, playing the villain is super fun because you get to do awful things you would never actually do. But yes, it is also the backlash of if you do it well, people go, oh, you're a douche, and it's like I'm actually not that bad a person. I play this guy really well apparently.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an amazing voice actor or even a professional voice actor by any means. I mean, I love doing voices, and I'm going to do them on my shows to keep costs down and make it easy for us. But the one thing I definitely learned is just it really comes down to embodying the character in such that it's not just about doing their voice. It's about doing their voice when they're happy, doing their voice when they're sad, doing their voice when they're laughing, and having that voice carry across those emotions, not just I'm this
Yeah.
character.
Yeah,
blah, blah,
being
blah.
them.
You know?
Yeah, what Eric had said earlier.
Yeah, you really
to
have
be.
to know how they would, and it also helps with the dynamics of your performance. In voiceover specifically, you definitely you have intimate moments. Like if you're closer to someone, you talk a little close. You know what I mean? I'm right next to them, and obviously in the booth, I would move close to the mic and be quieter, but still just as loud. And then there's times, obviously, that you have to scream things. But the one thing that I think people forget is they go, I have a line to read. And the question is, what is happening for that character during that line? What state are they in? And why there doesn't need to be a line written for you for gasp or sigh or... obviously there will be directions that's written in there. Character sighs and says this, But what about, like, if he's choking on something or he's asking a question he doesn't really want to ask, the apprehensive has to come through in that. And you have to go, is this the best way to go? I mean, maybe,
Yeah, I see what
people
you're
seem
saying,
to
yeah.
forget that when you're talking to somebody and you say, I want you to question, is this the best thing? You're not going to go, is this the best thing? You're going to go, is this the best thing?
Yeah, like catching up
Right,
with words or having.
Well,
moments
there's
when
an
your
interesting
brain
question
It feels
in that.
real
Get the
that
words
way.
out,
There's an interesting question in that is timing, because a lot of the time when you're doing stuff, people are like, oh, okay, I need it faster, or can you do a little slower, and pacing those things out and maintaining that level of authenticity, but also meeting the speed. Like, how do you, Eric, like incorporate that, and like what goes into your mind, and like how am I going to deliver this awkwardness and make it feel natural, but also they want me to do it faster?
Yeah, that's again, context is really big. Context makes a huge difference. Again, it's how you would deliver something. And like you and I, when we were working, I remember there were times that you wanted to, you were ready to have fun with Captain, and I'm gonna deliver this like this, and I would say we can't though because.
His regular voice.
But sometimes there's maybe enemies on the way, and even though you're saying this line, it may not be totally connected, but the sense of urgency and what you need out of a scene might change the way you deliver it.
Yeah.
So, that's an interesting question. Means I have plenty of time to ask that question. I'm probably a little older too. There's things that build up that delivery.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm the same person, but oh God, is this right? It's the same person, except now he's urgent. He's definitely like, we need to get to the answer quicker. Something's happening. So that changes how you deliver. It's still the same line read for the most part. Is that right? To is that right? It's
There's blood in my stool. Is that right?
Oh, I don't think that's right at all. But yeah, you could still maintain a lot of the same thing for a cool delivery, but you can change the urgency or the things like that are context. It's very much context.
Yeah, such a context heavy, especially when you're doing just voice acting, because there's no visual cue for you while you're doing the voice acting, right? You don't have unless you have
Right,
a storyboard
and that's how
an
some
animatic
people
there.
can sound a little what they would say like reedy, because they're like they just don't sound like they're really that character right at that moment thinking that way.
Yeah, that was very interesting seeing
Yeah.
doing it this way, because I had just done a project where everyone was in Discord, and it was like being in the studio with everyone reading their lines, and I was able to feed off of the energy that was given to me even over vocals, versus I'm gonna read these lines, and that it's like reading into the dark. I'm done, and then I see it come together later. It's very interesting seeing the differences there. And I enjoyed both of these things, but doing the cast read
That's fun.
was so fun.
Well, because we are what we are, right? Like
And the latter
we're
is
entertaining.
difficult.
We want to do this stuff, but it also we feed off of it, and having the other people there, you feed off of that, and so that makes it different for sure. It's like, oh man, I really enjoy it. Like, when Heather would come here to do Genya, I was reading opposite her in the room, and it felt really good, and it was literally my character talking to her character, so it was a lot more like like what you're talking about, doing a cast reading. But then I have to do the other characters as well for her sake. But yeah, I mean, obviously feeding off each other is fantastic, and it's the energy that's created. Again, we go back to what you were saying, what we were talking about at the beginning, is community. It just, you feed in so many ways, and you feed, they feed, everybody gets what they need out of it when you have a good working community of, especially again, artists that are wanting to make things happen.
Yeah. That's freaking. It's so true. It's when you. Well, it's like a collaboration in anything. As soon as I bring someone else into a project I'm working on, suddenly I go from being knee deep in this project, seeing all the problems, to suddenly seeing all the advantages and opportunities again in a fresh eyes, and then they bring something else to it. And it can be in voice acting, it can be in making games, it can be in making animation or film, but as soon as you get a group of creatives together, you exponentially improve what you're working on by taking in that extra input, that extra feedback.
It's taken me quite a while to find out that Spaceman 1988 or whatever was actually our writer, Corey.
Were there Doritos?
And he's been talking you up the whole time, too.
That is hysterical. He sent me a message. He goes, "I'm Spaceman," whatever. And I was like, "What are you doing?" Oh, yes, Spaceman. There are Doritos on board, and they can call us to sponsor us anytime they'd like.
At 188.
Exactly. 3poundmagician.com, and go find our contact page and let us know that you want to give us some Doritos.
Oh my god. I'm pretty sure the way Doritos last, that there are Doritos in the future.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, as long as they're sealed in a bag, I think they're good forever, right? Are they? They're not quite as great as a Twinkie, but they're pretty close, I imagine.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Twinkies.
No, the future food pods will just be
Yeah, I really think it's gonna be like
That's what-
it's gonna be like Otter Pops
maybe a
filled with a
McDonald's burger,
sludge,
you know?
and you just suck it down, and it has all your requirements for the day.
I would love that. I think I love eating delicious
Yeah.
food. I hate making delicious food. It's about buying your time back from the world. If it takes me an hour to make a meal, that could be an hour of me doing something. So usually I don't eat. Natalie has to put food in front of me or I'll die on my
Most starving. It sounds like a starving artist to me. Jeff, how's your board game coming?
Oh, that's right. It's funny because we've been doing this stream for like months now, and I've never mentioned that I'm making a board game, guys. Making a board game. Not only am I making a board game, I have the board game.
Oh,
But I
shit.
have the board game
Whoa.
right here. You can check it out, thepiratesofhaven.com. We're getting ready to do a Kickstarter next year. We're playtesting and working with manufacturers right now to get all our quotes going. It's essentially a deck building board game with player versus player versus environment and exploration aspects. It's all about sky pirates and screwing your friends over and fighting each other and fighting the ports and doing adventures, and it's been a lot of fun actually. And again, that actually kind of brings me back to the point of you have this downtime in COVID, you have these ideas, chip away at it. I did that, and I ended up with a board game. You know, like, and now I love playing it, even if I don't sell it.
I can play it.
That's
That's
right.
awesome.
So yeah, there's a little plug, little shameless plug there.
What do you mean plug? I genuinely had that question
Go
just
back to,
come up into my head.
plug.
Had no plan there.
That's awesome.
Yes, you're a seamless marketer.
Thank you.
I am a seamless worker. That's right. He knows.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what we
yeah.
call product placement. Everyone. Yeah. I have to pay Mike $5 now.
Let's see. We got per viewer. So let's see. We're up to no.
Oh man,
CBV.
Oh,
Mike's eating some Taco Bell tonight.
Yeah. Fuck your cost per acquisition. We're doing CPV.
Right. That's right.
That's what I thought you said. We were like, and it's a dick building game. I'm like, oh.
I know. I was gonna say that too.
Dick building game. Yeah, that's right.
Uh,
Stackable parts to make a
Oh,
big
God.
old schlong. First to make the tallest
Well,
schlong.
that'll be the second game.
It's a,
Ask
it's a
Pirates
very
of Haven.
erotic Jenga.
Oh, mom, you're back.
Oh yes. Oh, my God. Yep. We're making that next.
Oh god.
Erotic Jenga.
Sex Jenga.
This game gives me
Oh.
wood.
What you got there, Jimmy? Oh, erotic Jenga.
What's wrong? What's
Oh
wrong,
my god!
Jimmy?
It's literally a game about cock
Oh, my
blocking.
God.
Oh, what's wrong? Jimmy can't get it up.
Oh, you gotta get it down.
Wow.
Careful with your pull there, boyo. You don't want to pull out too soon.
Wow, this thing.
Look at your boy going full mast.
Ah.
Now Eric's like, what have I gotten myself into?
I have to be careful to not say inappropriate things, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're using
Oh
all
no,
those
we're
sound
fine.
bites.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. We give ourselves a quota actually per stream. We're running out of. We haven't caught up.
Oh, I
yet, so we
see,
have to get a
okay.
bunch one after.
Otherwise, we
another.
do more of like a George Carlin list at the end just to make sure we meet quota.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Gonna meet the quota because we're meeting with the quota, then the quota
So
is the
here's a good
meeting.
question.
Oh.
Ah.
We're a paradox. We're a paradox of quotas. Did you fill your paradox quota today?
Did you feel your paradox?
I know Scott Bakula has.
I have if you have. What a paradox.
Oh, my quota.
Oh, my quota.
Oh my quota. Oh, right in the quota.
That's going to hurt.
So, good question about Clarion Dawn for you. I personally have always wanted to make my own audio drama. I've written lots of scripts for making cartoons, and I've often wondered maybe I should just do a fucking audio drama because it's way less work. How long did it take to go from idea through to script, through recording and practice and final edit to release?
Wow.
Per episode, on one episode, let's say.
I mean,
Average, if you can.
we
Average.
got it down, I think. It depended on how we did it. I mean, because I could actually have something ready probably within the week. But the key was whether or not there was going to be any pipeline flow issues with, like, Frank was doing, he has a day job as well as an editor, a video editor and sound guy. So he had to obviously have the time available. And then it depended on when we recorded everything. Obviously, again, if it was just me, I can record, everything probably an hour, you know what I mean? And start putting it all together. It's all the other things. It's all the other actors, all of that stuff. So scheduling everybody, putting all of that together. But I often would have people come in and record a couple episodes at a time, and then I wouldn't need to see them for another week or two, and I could put together a couple episodes. So yeah, it's kind of like I think the best we did was probably about a week. Yeah, just, like, oh, the script is pretty much finished. Okay, cool. I'll record this, and then I'll have my rough version within a couple of days, and then we'll have it finished with effects and done on the sound design side by the end of the week. So, yay, we'll have it this week,
And that was between what, three, 4 people?
Yeah, well, basically, let's see. There was first there was obviously Corey spent the time writing, and that was through. Let's see. So I guess we probably started March, April-ish. We finally thought maybe we had something working through April and May, and then he started the writing process, and by June and July, I was starting to try to record people and get things put together and have a sample of like what that was going to be. And then again, then I handed it to my buddy Frank, who's going to do all of the actual like sort of sound design to it. Yeah, and figure out what music he wants to use, what sound effect, what the engine noise is, all of that kind of stuff. So that took a little while, but once we kind of got an idea of what we wanted, then it was like you could start pounding them out as long as you were able to go in and record them. Obviously, I had to have some people remote. That was an issue, and trying to work with them.
Sorry.
Oh no, not just you. I like everybody except a couple of people that I know, like I'm friends with, that they've been around me enough, and I think we both knew we're like I'm comfortable with the risk of coming here to record. And there was only a couple of those people. Everybody else was like remote. So.
How'd you find that experience? I've always done remote recording with my voice actors because I'm up in Canada and a lot of you guys are down in the States or over in New Zealand, and it's been an interesting technically to get working. But how did you find it, especially now with the new technology, because it's been years since I've done it, as with the pandemic being locked down and not everyone having access to professional studios and stuff like that? How did you find it?
Well, for me, it was kind of interesting because, like I said, I did have a couple actual people that came here, but it was very different. Like, and sometimes it was different per actor. So the Honey Bunny does Bunny. She plays Pelton, and she was not going to come here, and barely has a setup. She kind of had to create like a fort with her couch cushions and try to record like that. And every now and again, she got like weird buzzes and stuff where you're just like, I can't even use this take. But for the most part, like I would just get together with like on a G, because I also couldn't direct her real time. So we would go through the lines in like a G chat together, like a video conference like this, like a Zoom chat, and we would discuss it. We would run the lines. I'd say, this is where I want you to put this and do that, and then I'd say, okay, go ahead, go record your stuff. So she would then hang up with me and then go record it all and send it over. And then I would go through and start putting it in and choosing takes and all that kind of thing. If there was something I felt I really needed, I would say, I really need this one again, and here's what I want you to do with it. And then she would do pickups, yeah. Other people, like Rashida, who plays Yulan, she's a working voice actor, so she has a studio, but she also has Source Connect, which is, sort of like the ISDN, whatever, but it's software. That was really awesome because I was literally in the session with her, directing her. Mike was very similar, although we were on like Discord while he recorded locally. If you have Source Connect, I can actually have the people basically record into my machine. But it's just easier to just have them, record on your side, but I want to hear what's going into the mic and I want to be able to direct you. And so, yeah, like I said, it made it interesting. I had to work a few different ways to make it happen, but overall, I think it came out pretty good. And I did have people, like in Chapter 7, there's like a whole bunch of cameos. And and they're all almost all of them are voice actors that I know and like a lot. And I said, would you be willing to do this? Because I mean, heck, I probably would have given them bigger parts if I had known they'd even been interested. But because I'm asking you to work for free. But they almost every one of them was like, oh yeah, absolutely, I'll give you that one line you need, no problem. And then I asked everyone at the end of chapter 8, we actually have like a audible credits where I'm kind of happy with. I think it came out really well. Mike actually provided the music for the bed behind it. And we literally have our narrator say the character name, and then each person says their name. So you get to connect with what that that actor, what they were doing with their voice for that character. You know what I mean? Like you hear the difference. Yeah, it's really cool. I really like it. And again, being somebody who's more audiophile, I really appreciate. When I was younger, I went to a radio school. And it was a national broadcast or something. Anyway, I had this instructor that when I went into his office, he had a giant banana with 4 bare feet.
I like the start of this story already.
With 4 bare feet on the bottom of it, as if it was like a creature standing there with 4 bare feet. And then underneath it says, I saw it on the radio. And that spoke to me instantly. I was like, yep, I can imagine that there was a 4 barefoot banana or a barefoot banana or something, you know what I mean? 4-foot banana. Like, there's so many ways that your mind could have taken it to there. And that fascinated me. And ever since then, it's been one more, nail in my audio coffin. No, it meant a lot to me. I was like, that's a fantastic way of thinking about that. I can make people see the most ridiculous things by explaining it to them and letting their mind, be, the theater of the mind, and letting their mind create it. And then if you're lucky enough, maybe they even draw it and show you what they saw, To me, that's fascinating. I would love to see what people think, Kennick looks like, or Clarion Dawn, or you know what I mean, like, or the Ozark, the ship they're on, like all of these things we don't necessarily have drawn out. But if somebody was to say, do it, and you're like, whoa, that's an interesting that's not what I pictured, you know what I mean? And so
it's the same. It's like when you hear people talk about their favorite books and the world and how they.
Well, that's why the book is always better than the movie, because you've decided how you thought it was. And it bums you out when you see that somebody doesn't have the same vision as you,
and that's what makes D&D so popular. And that's what makes D&D so popular, is D&D lets you create that.
Yeah, and that's the reason I play. I mean, obviously GW was on here earlier. GW and I were in Realms of Ukador for like over 2 years. We did that season or whatever. Now we're in season 2. And I'm in it, but GW's not. But I love D&D. It's a fantastic, and it is theater of the mind. You create this thing in your mind and what it looks like. So when somebody comes along and goes, I'm going to tackle making this into a movie, and you watch it and you go, damn it, you're like, I love this stuff and it's totally, I'm into it, but you don't see it the way I saw it, damn it.
That's why I can't wait for the day where you get to hop into a video game that isn't a game itself. It's just a creation engine, like the game Dreams on PlayStation. It's been pretty much that already. But imagine being able to go into a game and you get, let's use Star Wars as an example. You get all the set pieces and all these NPCs and everything already in the game, and then you get to make your own movie and star in it while you're playing it, right? And then you can do it your way, the way you always saw it, and then it's like an emergent type of storytelling. You create a world, and then you let the fans make that world.
And I think that's reminiscent of video
cooler,
games, honestly, that open people up to that, because for a long time, books and movies were the two mediums. It's like you could read it, or you could see someone's portrayal of what you had read, or just someone's portrayal of something. And video games allow you to dive in and experience and play around in the world that you like. And this is why you see a lot of MMOs come out. This is why you see more and more custom customizability in terms of characters and what your characters are about, because creators have realized that, they love the lore and the world that we've created, but honestly, people like to they want to project themselves in here and live a life how they would, because it's the ultimate escape, but also the ultimate exploration of what would I do? And that's why you have choice-based games. Baldur's Gate 3 Early Access just came out. It's literal D&D that's playable. And it allows you to make choices. You don't have to make a choice any which way. It's true to D&D's form where, you could just kill a dude who, could have given you the main quest and then figure your shit out later. Do whatever you want in this world. So world building, things like Minecraft have really upped the scale in terms of okay, we now understand people like to create as much as they like to see our creations.
And I love that aspect of it. Yeah, and I love that aspect of it, especially the one thing I always say to new dungeon masters is no plan survives the player. So it's because it's such an emergent gameplay. It's literally you give them an option, and you're in your head thinking they're gonna go this way, so I can bring them to this guy or whatever, and they're like, nope, they fuck up, and then they go do something else, and then your game session turns into a whole different adventure than you expected. And I love telling my stories, but I love collaborating like that to tell stories, because when I'm telling my stories, I'm not really surprised because I'm telling the story. But then when I'm telling a story with friends, the story develops and I get surprised still, So cool.
Yeah, I think when we were doing Clarion too, I was so anxious at the beginning to experience it with everyone else, which is obviously not a great idea when you're supposed to be directing these actors to do the thing that you want them to do. It literally took me a couple chapters to get in and then go, okay, now I really need to know. I have to be spoiled. So then I had a discussion with the writer, and I got the main chunks of it, knowing where we were going. So then I was like, okay, now I can craft this each character's sort of arc of how they and you do that by saying their delivery on this line specifically is going to be a little more dismissive than it normally would have been, because we're trying to start laying the foundations that they're going to flip or they're going to do something,
Or they're distrusting.
Right.
And
I mean,
the
Kennet character, I knew the basic gist of what was going to happen pretty much all the way to the end, but some of the other characters, it changed how you deliver it. Like when I got to a certain episode, I knew he's basically snapped here. This is what I mean? This is how he's going to act. This is how he's going to sound.
Yeah.
And then maybe another chapter, it's like, nope, this time he's clear-headed as can be. I mean, he starts out sort of sick, because he can't handle the idea of being disconnected from everything. So, yeah, it's all context. It's all toying with the viewer as well, even though it's a listener, I guess, in this case.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I think so, and that's why, and honestly, listening to, again, I'm not a what's that? I'm sorry, I didn't get to be a surprise. Yes, Spaceman is reminding me that he's sorry that I had to be spoiled. I was having, honestly, he's a great writer, and it was just, I was so excited to be on the journey that, yeah, you almost get bummed when you have to find out everything so that you can explain it to other people. Sorry, I don't even know what the hell I was answering. I just saw that and I was like, good to see you, Corey.
Hi, buddy.
It's interesting too. A lot of the talk about how the character acts down the road versus how they seem at the beginning. A lot of foreshadowing will dictate that as you start setting things up and things. But it's most important to realize, especially as a writer, I find this could just be me, but what I find is understanding the difference between what a character says and what they're actually thinking is a super important thing. And a lot of the times, even most of the times in my real life, they don't align. And having that subtext of what they really mean through what they're saying or how they say it, it changes
Yeah.
everything, right? Part about it.
Yeah, I was just saying.
Did you
Yep.
answer my
Yep.
Doritos question?
Yep,
Yes,
we
he did.
We-
You missed it.
We weren't aware that was you, and now we know. We're like, hey man, as soon as you've got that hookup, we will take a sponsorship.
Yeah. Yeah, there's Doritos in the
That's
future.
right.
They're the
Yeah.
only chip that survived.
Yeah, they're the only thing that made
Like
it. That
Taco Bell.
everything else is like
Is
the
that
thin
what-
stuff. I want some Doritos.
They actually make spaceships now out of that. They actually make spaceships now out of that material. And
They're just the best, man.
You're right. The solar sail,
sails from
the solar
Doritos
sail
packages,
crafts. Yeah,
recycled
that's
from
it.
Earth.
They're just Dorito wrappers that they just.
Yeah.
It's amazing the technology that comes from a space race.
Aerospace Dorito wrappers. Spaceman, only snack related questions from here on out. Our whole show just becomes
Yeah,
our whole
exactly.
show
In the
just
future,
becomes
do
that
you think
snack
there will
question.
be? And then just insert any snack there. Like,
Well, yeah,
"Think
but
there'll
we-
be moon pies.
We were talking
Actually-
about it earlier. We already know what
We're
still
trying to
makes
get
it.
to-
You know, things like freaking Twinkies.
So, here's a good snack related question. Eric, what fuels your snack when you're voice acting?
I do not snack while voice acting. I mean, unless they literally want me to do a line where I'm crunching on something. No, I do not. I don't usually snack while doing voice acting. When I'm
Do
not
you eat
voice acting,
potato chips before?
no, not before. No, after,
Okay.
absolutely.
Remember, you're
Oh
gonna-
yes.
When
Oh,
do you eat? When
I
in your
forgot.
process
I
do
eat
you
Doritos
eat Doritos?
24/7.
There
I
you
can't
go.
do anything
All right.
without some great, tasty Doritos.
And YouTube silence. Is just
Yeah,
part of the
if we're
show.
trying to get sponsors, we want nacho cheese.
You want just nacho cheese?
Yeah,
in
I-
general?
As long
I-
as
Let
it's
that
not
be
yours.
Oh.
That's right.
It's nacho cheese. It's my cheese.
Find me at Gigi Strato.
Thank you. I'll be here all week. Try the veal.
He's unfortunately here all week. Yeah. Horrified. Bugles, did they make it? What does that question even mean?
No,
Bugles,
the
did they make
Bugles
it? It's
did
a
not make
statement.
it
That's not a
because there's
question.
too. They could only have too many things that had corn in it because the earth was falling apart and we were losing our crops. So we had to choose, and Doritos apparently made it, and Bugles did not. So I'm sorry, but that is Bugles will not be in the future.
They did too
There weren't
many.
enough- there-
Too many times did they experiment with a simulation where the bugles got on the fingers of the people needing to press buttons, and they weren't able to press them. It just wouldn't work. They were too busy putting the bugles on their fingers and didn't pay attention to the crisis. And it was always red alert failure, catastrophic engine failure, just because of
Corey.
bugles.
Yeah, Corey. We Eric actually eventually figured out it was you, and then we had our Doritos conversation, and you weren't even there for it.
Yeah, good times.
Oh, how'd you roll a
That's from Ukador or from Fabled 42, which is the channel that I stream every Wednesday on. Yeah, about 3
nice.
years now. Well, maybe not 3 years. Two and
That's
a half.
crazy. It just doesn't feel that long since. Wow.
I know it doesn't feel that long, but season 1 was over 2 years long, and we're now in season 2, or series 2, or whatever we're calling it. I don't know.
Holy crap! And that's the brings it right back to just get started in doing it, because then you don't realize
Wasn't
you're
it
doing and you're
the
getting it
largest
done.
D&D stream? Like 42 people?
Before Critical
No,
Role?
it was as in the largest number of players.
like watching.
Oh,
No.
he did. Chris Solo did something where he had like Origins or something, and he had like 40 characters, and they would all slowly get whittled away and killed until he had the final sort of cast of Origins or something. I think that was it.
They should do a reality show like that. They should do a reality show like that, where it's like all these different D&D characters.
Right,
whittling
it's
down to, like,
Survivor.
a
It's Survivor.
Party of 5. Oh my god.
It's
Party
D&D
of
Survivor.
5.
That's what it is.
I thought he meant the room was empty. No, he said seemed empty. God
Yeah.
damn it.
It was the guy behind you said, I bet that's a mimic.
Oh, no, not a mimic.
You didn't believe him and then opened the chest and look what happened. Now you're dead.
To be fair, he quiet cried wolf at every chest.
You didn't tell him it was a mimic? Yeah, but I didn't also think he'd roll a 20 on taming. Fuck!
No, I'm the mimic's bitch.
How do you tame the
Mimic
mimic?
tamed him.
Come on, mimic, and it's just this chest.
It's like
running around with its
that
tongue
book
out,
in Harry
just
Potter.
like-
As long as you rub the spine or something, you know.
Well, that's pretty much up to the end of our stream.
And I'm sorry.
We're gonna wrap it up with that. I
I'm
think.
sorry.
I'd like to apologize to everybody that watched for ruining your cool stream about artists that know what they're doing.
You know, it's funny. I have lots of people say, "Oh man, you're in the industry. You're working hard. Do I need to go to school?" I'm like, honestly, man, no one in the world knows what they're doing. Just do
Yeah,
what you love
yeah,
and
but get it out there. You know,
You
like
know?
let people see what you do, and hopefully,
Get it out there.
you know, and I, like I said, community, man, just build your community. Get to know people, and maybe they don't do the same thing as you. They
Build
do
it.
something that you could use. You know what I mean? You could work together on things.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like we said yesterday in our talk, people like the whole Seth Rogen crew of comedians that came together and made movies together. You know, you build a community and you grow together, and then you get these opportunities through each other, and then you can blow up eventually. You know, it's about starting now to build.
Yeah,
that
and
community
all of it is
so you have
honestly
it down
like
the
if
road,
it's
you know?
something you want to do, you know, I know there's some really great quote that has to do with when your opportunities arise and how much you've put into it. But if you really are ready to deliver when you do get your opportunity, that's what will excel you past.
Yes,
Prepare,
that's right.
build,
prepare.
practice, know what you're doing, know what you're comfortable with. If you have a character and you feel so good about him and somebody says, that's a great character, but could I ask you to make these adjustments? And then you have to be able to do that and know it and not get butthurt about it. You just go, okay, I'll make him sillier, you know, or I'll make him whatever. Or I'll give him a deeper tone.
Yeah.
Either way, you do what they're looking for and you book that gig and move on. You know what I mean?
Right? There's the
Yeah,
quote. Book
exactly.
that gig and move on.
Well,
Well,
book
that's,
that gig and move on.
that's
This
every
new,
audition. man.
PDF
Every
downloadable
audition is
ebook by
do the
Eric Bra.
audition and then forget all about it. Because you don't ever want to sit and think
Nice.
about whether or not you'll get it. And then if you get a call, you go, oh right, yeah. Let me go look up what I sent them. And
Yeah. Expect the worst. Expect the worst. Plan for the best.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then you're always surprised.
Something like that.
Surprised. You know. Well, thanks everyone. All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. A big thanks.
Yeah, thank
to
you, man.
You, Eric, for coming on. This has been an
Yeah.
awesome time.
Yeah, it's been
Thank you
Great
very
time
much.
talking to you. I want everyone, yeah, of course, and I want everyone to go check out Clarion Dawn. That's CLARIONDAWN.
Or anywhere you get your
ClarionDawn.com.
podcasts.
It's free to listen to. In fact, you can go to Clarion.com. That's true. And in fact, you can go to Clarion.com and
Yes.
it'll link you out to any of those places. So, make sure you check them out. Make sure you listen to the first episode at least. You'll get hooked because and of course, make sure you follow all of our artists. Follow Eric around. Follow the
3 Pound Magician.
3 pound. What was it? 3 pound. 3 Pound Magician. Follow them around. And follow our artists, Mike, Travis,
And listen to that
and
cop.
Pixel around the internet. I'll have all.
Thanks for watching.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So I'll throw up all of our social network information up at the end of the stream here for you guys. And thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.